What's up, guys? This is Sonic Fable coming with a new Comic Book Wednesdays for July 3rd, 2013. So, this week is a okay week. We got 4 books, better than the average 3, but any more than 3 is usually good. Let's just say that. This week's kind of slow, iffy. Kind of, not the biggest week in comics probably, but I did get a poster for Infinity. If that's cool. It has the lead. It has a couple of the other books: Avengers 18, New Avengers number 9, and then Avengers Assemble, Captain Marvel, and Thunderbolts, which don't care about. Just getting the regular book. And I actually got a complaint from someone. I'm not gonna mention who. That when I was talking about tie-ins, they're like, "Oh, you need to get the tie-ins," and I'm like, I'm not really sure how I can see tie-ins. He's like, "Well, I looked at your other videos, and you went back and you got all the Death of the Family tie-ins," and then I was just thinking to myself, that's because I wanted to. The tie-ins for here, I'm not really interested in. The Death of the Family ones, I was invested in that series. Like, I don't know if I'll be invested in Infinity, but I don't really care for getting preludes to it because I have no idea if it's going to be good or not. Sure, I have that free comic book day edition of it, but still, again, I'm not fully convinced from it. It probably was the best book from free comic book day, but still, I'm not convinced to buy everything Infinity-wise. So, please bear with me about that. If I read a series that happens to be a tie-in to something else, I'm not even going to pick up the book that it's tying into. I'm just picking up the regular book. Well, with that being said, let's go on to this week's comics. This week, kind of slow. DC mostly is kind of slow. We only got one. We only got The Movement number 3, written by Gail Simone. I enjoy this first issue. The second issue is kind of iffy. I'm hoping for a better issue. Because the endings seem to, bring it in for a third issue and keep wanting to go more, but then again, I have no idea. This cover looks kind of interesting, Cartharus is, getting the, getting her ass whipped by all these police officers from Central City, so, I'm just thinking at the time, where the hell is the Flash? But, so, basically, we're just trying to figure what's going on. But on to Marvel. Our first one, probably one of the more, I don't know if it's kind of big, but it's a What If AVX. Basically, they are just, doing a What If series of AVX, I guess, basically giving questions to people, I guess, changing things in the series, Again, it's a What If, so it's not really going to continue with the Marvel standalone storyline, but then again, it's a what if, and you know how parallel universes work, they sometimes go into the regular universe, so we'll never know fully, but I'm interested because I did enjoy the original AVX, so let's see how this turns out. After, we do have Deadpool kills Deadpool. Now, I didn't read any of the other series, well, that's technically a lie. I did read some of Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. I don't have any of them. I read them in the store. But they seemed like goofy comic fun. But I didn't want to pick it up for some reason. I just, didn't feel like it. So when I saw this coming out, I'm like, I have to get this one. This is going to be funny, honestly. This looks to be a treat. And I like already on the cover, parental advisory. It's going to be a graphic comic. I already read like the first little bit. Yeah, it's pretty graphic. Let's just say Deadpool is going to try to kill Deadpool, but that probably isn't the best book of the week. Probably what I'm thinking to be the best book of the week is this, Avengers AI number 1. Yes, the book that was talked about all last week on my Comic Book Wednesdays for my Age of Ultron 10 AI review. AI review. I really love that issue, and I'm looking forward to this. I haven't heard much about what it's about. All I know is it's about an AI Avengers team run by Hank Pym. So, that's probably going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. So, with that being said, let's travel to the future. And the future being about 5 or 10 seconds to hello to me, to my face. Alright guys, welcome back to Comic Book Wednesdays. Yeah, I'm just making sure I said the right title, because sometimes I forget. It happens. Trust me, it happens a couple times. because you'll think, depending on the day of the week, whenever I do this, depending on situations and all that, I might accidentally say Comic Book Tuesday or something. I don't know. When I did the free comic book day, that was a hassle because I kept saying it's Comic Book Saturday, and I'm gonna have to do that again later this year, which is gonna be fun. But anyway, why don't we go into the comics since I've finally read them? Movement number 3. Now, again, like I said previously, I thought issue 2 was just okay. I didn't really care for it. And issue 3, it's better than issue 2, but it doesn't live up to that standard I thought issue 1 was. I don't know. It's weird to talk about it like that, but I thought issue 3 was pretty good. I had a lot of action this time around, which I thought was pretty cool. There's a little misunderstanding in there, which is iffy, and the ending is kind of cool, you know. It's not as cool as the other 2 endings, because the other 2 endings I thought were like, oh, good, this is going to be interesting. But the ending of this one was just like, okay, you know, I'll read the next one, see how that goes. I'm thinking as soon as the story arc ends for this, I'm not sure when that's going to end, though. And it doesn't really give you a definitive of how long this story arc is going to end. Probably then I'm probably going to stop reading it. Because from that point, I just, you know, it's getting... It's hard to explain, but my relationship from the first one is definitely moving past that after reading this one, which is kind of saddening because I didn't really enjoy the first one, but unfortunately the series is just going downgrade at the same time it's going upgrade because this issue is better than issue 2, but there's a lot of conflicting issues with it. Freddie Williams, whatever, the second junior, whatever he wants to be called, I don't care. His artwork is, again, great. There's some excellent scenes in this book, and then there's some weird scenes that don't, the artwork is just iffy. But I thought it was okay, you know. But let's move over to Marvel, who has really stole the show this week, kinda. Let me explain. But first we have What If AVX numero uno out of 4. Let me throw that on the ground for a minute there, because I was kind of, you know, conflicted about this one. I'll be honest, it was good, but it was interesting to read, because I did not understand what the what if part was. They never give you a definitive, what if this? Not really kind of definiting it, but you figure it out after a while. I'm not really going to... it's in the first couple of pages, so I might as well spoil it. It's basically what if the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of saw the Phoenix Force coming instead of Nova. Which is kind of weird, in a way. Because Nova was on a mission at the time, and in this book, he's already at Earth, so did he not go on that mission? I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy sent a transmission to Earth, like Nova told Captain America and Iron Man when he crashed down. But, and basically, what if Magneto made the negotiation instead of Cyclops with the S.H.I.E.L.D. enforcements? But the difference this time around was S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't put on their shield. Like their invisible shield, or the camouflage shield, as they like to call it. I call it the invisible shield. You know, shield. Shield, that's what it should be called. But, no, they don't turn that on, which is kind of weird. And, holy crap, the ending was fantastic. It was fantastic in a dramatic standpoint. That's what I gotta say. It's gonna get crazy from here because Magneto seems to be looking at the inspiring for hope in this storyline. I know it's a parallel universe, but it looks like Magneto's gonna be trying to, you know, be Hope's guardian in a way. It's kind of, from that standpoint, that's what it looks like to be. Because she's training with him. Cyclops isn't really doing that much with him. She's just talking. Cyclops really looks like he's going to be kind of a good guy in this book, towards the end of the book. Because you see something look at the end of the book, which involved 5 characters from the Avengers team. Which, if you read AVX, you kind of know 5 characters is kind of something in it. But yeah, I think this series is going to be definitely good. All July, it's all supposed to come out all July. Next week they're taking a break, but the rest of July, the rest of it's going to come out, so it's a weekly thing. So I definitely would look at that. After that, we have Deadpool Kills Deadpool. Now, I'm going to get one thing straight. Again, I didn't read Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe or Deadpool Illustrated. However, if you didn't as well, you don't need to read those to fully understand the premise of this story. You can jump right on easily. They gave you a little subplot at the beginning. It's kind of long, but it's funny. And they basically tell you the premise of it. And, well, I have to say the title is kind of misleading because it technically doesn't involve Deadpool killing other Deadpools. At the same time, it does. You're kind of not sure. But at the same time, who cares? It's a lot of fun. You get to have Deadpool from our universe, chilling out. And, of course, all the Marvel heroes are alive in our universe because, of course, we can't have our universe be the one that's full of dead Marvel heroes. It's gotta be those other universes. So it looks like that, I'm not sure, but if the Deadpool from Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe and Deadpool Illustrated is killing all these other Deadpools, if that's the premise of it, but then again, he kind of failed in it, and you'll see that in the book. Other than that, you get to see Deadpool kind of like bring up to his stature of what it was, and there's a scene of a Deadpool. Well, there's two Deadpools who die. No, three. Technically three. The first death is pretty gruesome. I'll tell you that. They definitely leave that parental advisory right here. Yeah, do not let kids read this because they'll be screwed up. I'll tell you that. And of course, you don't see any Marvel heroes except for Deadpool in this book. And I don't want to spoil it, but there are some Deadpool fans, Deadpool readers who have read the Deadpool series over the years. Yeah, you'll be happy with it. You see some old friends that aren't really from our Marvel universe, but they're from several Marvel universes, definitely. Because, it's about parallel universe Deadpools, and, I kind of given it away, maybe, but, definitely, I loved the book. I definitely thought it was great, though. Artwork was great, and storytelling was great-wise. Again, the same person who wrote Deadpool Illustrated and Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe also wrote this book, same with the artist. So, there you go. World goes round, and circle of life. Finally, probably the biggest book of the week, though, Avengers AI #1. Now, as I said previously, I loved Avengers 10 AI. I mean, not Avengers. Age of Ultron 10 AI, which leads basically into this book. It's a perfect setup. At the same time, the beginning is kind of conflicting. Sort of. The beginning shows you in the Today universe, and it shows you, months or weeks, I can't remember on the top of my head, prior to that, dealing with an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., the head of the AI department, talking to Hank Pym. Talking about that there's a virus that's currently going around, and it actually got into the president's email. So, it's kind of dangerous, and they're thinking that Hank kind of caused it by destroying Ultron. So, it kind of builds off from that, but this book is funny, it's action-packed, it's a great story, and great characters. If you don't know any of these characters, they perfectly introduce you to them. Perfectly. How many of you know who this guy is? Okay? His name's Victor. He is an AI robot, I'll tell you that for sure. But how many of you know who he was? Okay, I can't see you raising your hands, so I'm going to guess a couple of you. But, he came from the Runaways, Marvel's Runaways, which is an excellent book. I have to recommend it, definitely. I have read the first couple of issues, and they're really good. But that was a couple years ago, so I've trying to piece together who Victor was, and perfect setup. You don't need to know anything about the Runaways to know who this person is. They tell you that in the book, basically that. You get the understanding of why there's a Doombot on the team. You get the understanding of what's Vision, who's Vision, Hank Pym, if you don't know who Hank Pym is. And the only person you don't know is this woman on the cover, but perfectly reasonable. You only meet her at the end, and you don't really get a good description of her because it's saved for the next issue, which is fine with me. At the same time, it's, I wish I knew more, but I love the issue. It's great. With that being said, let's go into the top 3 of the week. The ultimate, you should probably get these, unless I say that this week was iffy. This week was great for Marvel. On the other hand, DC, I wish for more of you. So number 3 this week is What If AVX. I thought the issue was good. I thought it had a compelling story. It definitely goes off the mythos of Avengers vs. X-Men from last year. You can kind of see the what if point towards the beginning. You know, it slowly sinks you in, but you know, it gets dramatic towards the end, which is great. And you know, you don't need to have like the major Marvel artists working on it, because Brian Michael Bendis is, you know, busy as hell right now doing other stories. Which that man and Jonathan Hickman are busy people at Marvel. They're just writing everything, and luckily they got people working at Marvel who can work on stuff. I mean, come on, you got to give them jobs too. Number 2 this week, Deadpool kills Deadpool. Again, I didn't read any of the other Deadpool kills series before this, and I thought this was excellent. I want to read more of them because of that. It wants me to get engaged into the Deadpool character even more than I did previously, which is excellent. Definite pick-up issue for me, definitely. Finally, the number 1 issue for the week, though, is Avengers AI. I absolutely love this. If you didn't like the Age of Ultron, and you just wanted to skip over it, perfectly pick up this book. It just briefly just explains what happened in the Age of Ultron better for you. You know, you don't really have to enjoy it, but you can pick it up and instantly know what happened, basically. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to pick up next month's issue. I know it's not a 2-week issue thing, what Marvel usually does. It's next month, which is excellent. I think all the books they actually get a month in advance. I think they're some of the better books that Marvel does, because they're not rushing them out like every other book. They're not rushing out Avengers or freaking, I don't know, Captain America, Iron Man. They're like getting these books out every 2 weeks, which is kind of rushing in a way. I can't explain it, but what can I say? Kind of weird the camera did that. I didn't notice that. But now, let's talk about next week. Next week should be pretty good for DC. Marvel, on the other hand, we're giving them a break. Marvel, you had an excellent week this week. Let's give DC some spotlight shine. But that's for good reason, because DC definitely has some spotlight shine. So let's talk about the one who I think isn't going to really do as good next week as I think everything else is, which is Nightwing number 22. Continuing on with the Prankster storyline and the Tony Zuko storyline, definitely. I love it, and I can't wait to pick it up. The last issue definitely was pretty good. Against Kyle Higgins, definitely great artist. He's not an artist, he's the writer. Excuse me for being stupid on my own show, because I'm allowed to do that. But, yeah, I just don't think it's going to be as good as the other 3 that are coming out next week. Let's start with the leaser of the 3, which is probably going to be Justice League number 22, which is part 1 of the Trinity War, which involves JL, JLA, and JLAD. Again, I'm allowed to be stupid on this show. JLD. Anyway, yeah, we're going to finally get the beginning of this Trinity War that everything's been leading up to for DC. They've been like, oh, this is going to be probably the biggest summer blockbuster, even though we already did that with Superman Unchained. But this is going to be the biggest crossover we ever had, and boom, explosion, you're finally going to understand this New 52 paradox, which I given up on the New 52 technically, even though I'm picking up books. Like, I don't even care about the New 52 anymore. It's going to be here for months, years. It's going to be here for a while. So unless DC decides, hey, let's just, screw with our customers again and do something else, It's weird. But anyway, let's go on to the next book, which is Batman number 22, which is continuing Zero Year. Last time, we didn't really get into the Batman suit yet. We got more into the mythos of Batman, his character-wise. I think this time around, we're probably going to go into the Batcave. Personally, that's what I think is going to go on happening. Because at the end of the issue, it leads towards Bruce going into the Batcave as a child. So it might lead towards the discovery of the Batcave and finally setting up a base of operations, not fully going into the Batman suit yet. But then again, we have to incorporate the Riddler in there somehow, because he was also at the end of the book. So, I'm sorry for spoiling that, but it's been a month, guys. Come on, you should have read that by now. And finally, the book I think will probably do the best, like I thought it did when it first originally released, is going to be Superman Unchained. I love the book. What can I say? I love the first issue. I thought
It was everything I expected and more, definitely. The only thing I didn't like about was that poster fold out, which I'm not hanging on my wall because that's completely stupid. But, I mean, if they had a regular poster that didn't have dialogue on it, I definitely would have hanged it up. Maybe. Maybe not. But, oh my god, it was so good. I really, really enjoyed it. And I have to say really twice to emphasize that I enjoyed it. But I'm looking forward to. I don't want to spoil anything about it because it definitely looks like it's going to be something groundbreaking for Superman wise. But what can I say? We're finally just gonna, it's gonna lead up to the rest of the month. Giving away all the rest of the books, giving away, because the rest of the month there's a lot of books coming out, a lot. What can I say? But I'm excited. July is gonna be a huge packed month. Same with August. We're getting all these big crossover books for the summer, which are going to lead into the fall school year, which most of the teenagers won't be able to get. So most of the adults will buy the stuff. What the comic book business is still alive. Luckily, it's still alive. The digital age did not take over the comic book age finally, which is good. I'm happy about that. Good. Because I don't have money to go and buy it on digital, but. With that being said, thank you for watching this Comic Book Wednesday. I'll be happy if you enjoyed it. What can I say? But thank you for watching. I'll check you back next week for all the DC fanboys out there because DC is going to take over next week. So thank you for watching. Sonic Fable. Check you out later.